Who's Who on the Battlefield, Spraunce. Raymond Spraunce, who would become the second in command of almost the entire U.S. Navy, was born on July 3, 1886, in Baltimore, Maryland. One of 3 sons born to Alexander and Annie Spraunce. He spent most of his childhood living with his maternal grandparents in New Jersey. When his grandfather fell into financial hardship, Raymond went to live with his parents in Indiana. Annie was instrumental in gaining Raymond's appointment to the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. He entered the college in 1905. Despite hating the schoolwork, Spraunce graduated early in September 1906, the 25th in his class. Spraunce served out his mandatory 2-year cruise aboard 2 ships. He served on the USS Iowa until July 1907, then took part in the world cruise of the fleet aboard the USS Minnesota. It was during this time that he was promoted to a midshipman and decided that he was cut out for a career in the Navy. Being very much interested in engineering, Raymond reported to the General Electric Company in Schenectady, New York. There, under the tutelage of Lieutenant Commander Luke McNamee, Spraunce learned to outfit ships with radios and electricity, among other things. After graduating the program, the newly minted engineer worked aboard the USS Connecticut, then served as an engineering officer aboard the Cincinnati. In March 1913, he took command of the USS Bainbridge. He held that command until he was recalled to shore as an assistant to the inspector of machinery at the Newport News Navy Yards, Portsmouth, Virginia, on May 19, 1914. In the December of that year, he married Margaret Vance Dean. Their son Ed was born the following year and would tragically pass away before his parents in 1969. Their daughter Margaret was born in 1919. The Spraunces would share an almost 55-year marriage, ending with his death at age 83. From February 1916 to November 1917, Raymond outfitted the Pennsylvania and other ships with modern equipment. He was denied sea duty during the last year of World War I. He instead reported as an assistant engineer officer to the Navy Yards in New York City. In this position, he also carried out duty in London, England, and Edinburgh, Scotland. On June 19, 1919, Spraunce took command of the troop transport, the USS Agamemnon. He was relieved of this duty to outfit and command the USS Aaron Ward and USS Percival. He was called to Washington, D.C. for duty in the Navy's Bureau of Engineering sometime after June 1921. He also served alongside the commander of Naval Forces Europe. In July 1926, Raymond reported to the Naval War College in Newport, New Jersey. He graduated in May of the following year and spent time in the Office of Naval Intelligence before being recalled to the War College, this time as the professor of the correspondence course. Wishing to gain the rank of admiral, he took command of the USS Mississippi. He was once again called to the War College in June 1931 to take charge of the Naval Tactics Department. He did become an admiral in December 1939 and assumed the leadership of the 10th Naval District, headquartered in San Juan, Puerto Rico, in February 1940. Watching the ever-growing Axis powers anxiously, Spraunce worked tirelessly to strengthen naval bases in the district. He became Commander Caribbean Sea Frontier in July 1941 and took command of Cruiser Division 5, which suffered heavy losses during the attack of Pearl Harbor on September 17, 1941. This division would later support the Doolittle raid into Japan. In June 1942, he became aide to Chester W. Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief, Pacific Fleet, and served as second in command of the entire operations during the Marshall, Wake, and Marcus Island campaigns. He also commanded Task Force 16, the force that engaged the Japanese and won the decisive Battle of Midway. Raymond became Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the fleet in September 1942. The following August, he took the role of the Commander, Central Pacific Force. In April 1944, the force was renamed the 5th Fleet. Working closely with Captain Charles J. Moore, Richard Kelly Turner, and General Holland Smith of the Marine Corps, Spraunce commanded the invasion of the Gilbert Islands, Saipan, Guam, Kenai, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. He was loath to give up his command at Okinawa to William Hasley, but he relieved Nimitz of his command. Spraunce commanded the fleet for 10 weeks before becoming the president of the Naval College. Working to modernize the curriculum, Raymond held this position until retiring from the Navy on July 1, 1948, after 42 years in the military. In 1952, President Truman named Raymond Spraunce the Ambassador of the Philippines. He worked in this capacity until President Eisenhower accepted his resignation in March 1955. Now truly in retirement, Spraunce embraced his true nature of that of a homebody. He wore old uniforms, worked in his garden, walked his pet dogs, and enjoyed a cup of hot chocolate every night. The extremely decorated, unassuming, humble Raymond Spraunce died at his home in Pebble Beach, California on December 13, 1969. He was buried with full military honors alongside his friends Chester Nimitz, Charles A. Lockwood, and Richard K. Turner. His wife Margaret joined him there upon her death in 1985. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Also check out my other World War II military videos. Thanks so much for watching.